A good late afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Sage. You're watching 𝐾𝐿 TV live from Sydney and this is the last show of the day, the last trade. And there's no better way to wind down the day than with today's market close commentary. And in today's show we'll look at the overall ASX 200's performance of the day and we'll also explore the gainers and the losers. We will look at some details of the companies that were in the news today as well. So let's dive straight in. And the Australian share market ended in the red on Wednesday, pulled down by the information technology, consumer staples and materials. The heavyweight mining and gold sectors were also sluggish after commodity prices hit demand as the greenback strengthened. The ASX 200 closed 0.24% lower. And on the pandemic front, new COVID-19 cases fell for a third straight day in Sydney, with authorities vaccinating the country's citizens at a rapid pace. And earlier, the Australian share market opened 9.90 points, or 0.13% lower, after Wall Street ended mixed overnight amid concerns on the US economic outlook. And meanwhile, the market breadth indicating the overall strength of the market was weak, as most sectors traded in the red during the day. On the ASX, mainly the banks offset the downbeat sentiment as they added over 0.5% to mark their highest level in 3 weeks. The Commonwealth Bank was the best performer of the Big Four, higher by nearly 1%, and the energy, industrials and utilities also ended in the green. The leading miner, BHP, lost nearly 1%, and Fortescue and Rio Tinto were little changed. Gold miner Northern Star fell over 4%, and the Newcrest mining dropped over 2%. In technology, electronics design software vendor Altium was among the major losers, falling over 3%. Blackmores, Brambles, Medibank Private and 𝐊𝐸𝐷.com were a few shares that went ex-dividend today. And on this note, let's shift our lens to the top gainers and losers of the day. Washington H. Soul topped the gainers chart, ending with a near 6% rise. Macquarie Group and Technology One followed with over 4% gains. And on the other hand, Eagers Automotive, St Barbara and Redbubble were among the top laggards, down nearly 6%. And now let's take a look at the shares that were in the news today. And first up, the multinational contractor 𝐊𝐸𝐴𝐷 companies have been awarded contracts that are expected to generate an additional revenue of 145 million Australian dollars. The stock climbed over 1% during the day. Also making the news, construction engineering company NRW's shares fell over 1.5% after the company's subsidiary Primero Group bagged an engineering, procurement and construction contract for the Mount Holland concentrator project for covalent lithium. And moving on to the next, the management of gold producer Westgold Resources expects the production guidance to be achieved despite COVID-19 travel restrictions impacting staff movements in August of 2021. The stock fell over 4%. And next up, we have the shares of the real estate investment manager Centuria Capital, who declined over 2% after its acquisition of a Port Adelaide office building for 62.75 million Australian dollars with an 11.1-year weighted average lease expiry. And according to the iron ore mining giant BHP, it has contributed around 34.1 billion Australian dollars to the Australian economy in the financial year 2021. The stock fell over 1%. And moving on, telecommunications company Aussie Broadband shares fell over 1% after it raised 114 million Australian dollars to help the business grow through mergers and extending its network. And lastly, investment banking company Macquarie shares traded for a record 182 Australian dollars and 66 cents after the group said first half earnings would be nearly double from a year earlier, albeit slightly lower on the second half of the financial year 2021. And now in the last segment, let us look at the performance of the indices of the major stock markets worldwide on Wednesday. In Asia, Japan's Nikkei 225 index rose 0.5%, while the Hang Seng in Hong Kong climbed 0.7%. The Shanghai Composite Index added 0.3%. In Seoul, the Kospi lost 0.3%. In the US, the S&P 500 index closed at 0.34%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at 0.76%. The Nasdaq Composite Index closed at 0.07%. In Europe, the DAX index closed at 0.56% and the FTSE 100 index closed at 0.53%. The Paris CAC 40 closed at 0.26%. And thank you for joining us on that report, but that's all in today's show. I'll see you tomorrow as close as possible to 9 a.m. Stay safe and goodbye.